welcome back to my channel. My name is Carly Stevens and this is English Nerd. So today I'm going to do the ho 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 writing tag that was started by Kim Chance. So I'm going to link the original video down below. She's just so joyful and it's really sweet. So I thought that since today is Christmas Eve that I would do the same thing just so that, because she's awesome and 'tis the season for these kinds of questions. So I'll just dive in, I guess. Here we go. The first question is, if you could ask Santa for one thing off your author bucket list, what would you ask for and why? So I thought about this one for a little while. I don't know that I have a properly listed author bucket list just because I'm brand new and the basic things are enough to keep me busy. But I thought, you know what would be really nice? I would probably ask Santa for a free audiobook version of my work once it comes out, because commissioning an audiobook is so expensive that it's just not even within the realm of possibility for me for several years at least, but audio has really taken off. So I would ask for a free audiobook, and I would want somebody cool to narrate too, somebody with a nice voice, you know what I'm saying? That would be great. So the second question, the Ghost of Christmas Past question. What's one piece of advice you wish your past self knew about writing, or what advice would you give to your fellow aspiring writers? Now, I wrote as a kid and as a high schooler, really all the way up until I was 18 or 19, very consistently. I wrote almost 2 novels worth of material in high school, which sounds really impressive, except that I stopped there. So the advice I would give to my previous self and to any other aspiring writers out there who might find themselves in the same boat is not to be afraid of editing, to embrace it, to think this is how my writing is going to go from being pretty good, okay, to being truly great. I have so much more joy now as a writer and so much more possibility of actually getting published, which is happening July 2019. Look out for Fury and Rising. It's going to be awesome because I've embraced editing, and it's not something that shows that you have failed in any way. It's just part of the process, and finding a way to really embrace that has made all the difference to me. So that's the advice that I would give to my former self and to any other aspiring writers, is to embrace editing. Once you have a full draft, think, okay, this is great or good or something, but it can be even better. How can I do that? And just game planning it. I think that that's really, really valuable. Number 3. Number 3 is the Elves question. Santa has his little helpers. What resource has been the most helpful to you, or most invaluable to your writing process? So this one, I could go in a few different directions, but a year ago when I decided to really pursue this writing thing and become an author, to publish multiple books and make my dream a reality, the most helpful resource to me was YouTube generally. I've been binge watching all kinds of channels. The most helpful has probably been the Creative Pen. Joanna Penn is a thriller author and she helps other writers with her books. She also has a podcast, and she's been in the independent author space for longer than most of the other people who now contribute to that conversation. So she has so many materials. I don't read blogs, but I actually have referenced her blog when I have a question, and she has a list of resources, for instance. So I would give this one to Joanna Penn with the Creative Pen. That's 2 N's. I'll link to her channel down below so that you can see if you haven't already found her. I'd be kind of surprised if you haven't and you've been trying to research independent authorship, both the craft and the marketing side. let's see what the next question is. Forgive me, I have all my questions set up right here, so I know I kind of awkwardly lean over every question, but just bear with me. The next question is based on gingerbread cookies because Kim's just the cutest. What is your favorite holiday treat, and what is your main characters from your current work in progress? What's their favorite holiday treat? My favorite is a chocolate cookie with a mint, gosh, what do you call those things? They look kind of like chocolate chips or snow caps or something, but they're mint instead of chocolate. You know what I'm talking about. So it has a chocolate cookie with the mint spread on top, so they're different colors, and they're really pretty and really delicious. My mom makes them every year, and I go over to her house and eat them. They're so good. So those are my favorite. And my main character, I have two main characters in my work in progress, the one that I will be finalizing and editing over Christmas break. Firian, the main guy, the title character, would not really like any holiday treats. He sees food more as fuel than as something to enjoy. He's one of those people who's so driven that they act as though they don't really need sleep or food, even though they're human beings and they need sleep and food. If somebody said, hey, here's some spiked eggnog, I don't think he'd say no, but it's not like he's gonna seek out any holiday treat anytime soon. God bless him. My other main character, the princess of this nation, she would go for a tart of some kind. I think she's a tart person. You know, a fruit tart, or really she would love gingerbread and all kinds of other things. She's not quite the same as Firian, who needs some help. Next question. Holiday traditions. What is your favorite family tradition? What fictional character would you like to share that tradition with? My favorite family tradition, we have a lot of Christmas traditions. The list is so long we literally don't get through all of them every year. We just know what the ongoing list is. So my favorite, which we do actually get to every year, is waking up super early. So here's how it goes. Yes, I am a fully grown woman, and so are my sisters as well, but every Christmas Eve that we're all in town together, we'll go over to my parents' house and sleep over there, and then we will get up at a kind of ungodly hour before the sun comes up to kind of relive that childhood wonder of Christmas, and we gather in my room and we play Nerds. It's really slow. It's a slow game. And a couple years ago, my sister's dog just moaned and groaned because it was so early. It was very cute. But anyway, that is my favorite Christmas tradition. It just keeps that wonder alive, and I don't know of that many grown adults who do something like that. It's very special and particular to my family. Kim Chance, in her video, said that she would like to share her tradition with Hermione, and when she said that, I thought, oh, hey, that would be great. But I don't want to steal from her, so I thought, who else would I enjoy sharing this tradition with? And pretty quickly, the idea of Merry and Pippin came to mind from The Lord of the Rings. I feel like they come kind of as a package deal, so I don't feel too bad naming them both together. They know how to have a good time. They would not be too worried about plot-related things. There's so many characters who are just stressed out all the time. And Merry and Pippin would not be stressed out. They know how to eat and drink and be merry. I just think that they would be great companions for that early morning slow Nerds game that we have during the holidays. Next question. We have done the holiday traditions. Okay, next one, number 6, is the Star of Bethlehem question. What started your journey to write your first book? Has the journey turned out like you imagined? Where would you like to see it go in the future? So it kind of depends on what you mean by writing your first book. If you count first completed novel, which is very unedited, it's not revised at all, that would be in high school when I was 15. I wrote my first novel, and honestly I think it has some really good ideas that I want to go back and revise and make better. The journey toward that was just writing all the time. when I was a kid. If you want to see more background, I do have a origin story kind of video about when I decided I wanted to, or I loved words. That was when I was 6 years old, and I just wrote a sentence in first grade and thought, wow, this is really great. And from then on, I was just a sucker for stories and words, and that's who I've been for many, many years. So I don't think my writing journey has turned out exactly as I expected it to necessarily, because I wanted to publish when I was in high school. Problem was, of course, that I was unwilling to change anything that I wrote, which is not how you get published, so I did not do that. I didn't write for about 13 years, and then I picked it back up and became more serious. So it's not a traditional route exactly, or what I expected, but I'm not upset at it at all. I think that it was the journey that I needed to go on. In the future, what I would like to see is a continued love for writing and a growing body of work that I make beautiful and put out there for people to read. So my very first book is coming out July 2019. I would like the sequel to come out probably 6 months or so later, and just kind of keep a steady stream of books. Full novels will be my greatest work, I think, but I would like to put out a couple of related novellas and just embrace this author journey, writing a lot of books in the same fantasy universe. There will be at least 3 of the same story, but I can see a few other stories coming out of that same world that don't necessarily have to do with the same characters. Anyway, I don't know if that's that's kind of a long answer, but there you have it, that's me. Number 7, The Night Before Christmas. What's your favorite book to read during the holidays? I love reading O. Henry's short story, The Gift of the Magi. It's really short. I have a illustrated copy though that is just, it's so beautiful, and I get all emotional every time I read it because it's the sweetest. When I have the time, the other book I would add is Lord of the Rings, because Christmas time is the perfect time to read that story that is so, I don't even really know how to put it. It's so comforting to me. There's so much joy in it, despite all the difficulties and the hardships. So when I have the time, Lord of the Rings would be my other answer, but I don't read Lord of the Rings every year. For instance, I'm just too slow a reader and I want to read new things too. But I have read it a few times during the holidays, and it's a wonderful experience. It's everything that I like in a book. Just love it. Next question, the Christmas parties, number 8. What is your best advice for juggling writing with the busy holiday season? Well, last month, November, I did write quite a bit, which was awesome. This month, I have hardly written anything at all, but I would say, personally, I tend to write first thing in the morning, and that's not when anything else is scheduled. You don't have Christmas parties, you don't have any expectations really when it's 6 or 7 in the morning. So that is when I get my words in, and then the rest of my day is freed up to grade or see people or whatever needs to happen that day. So that's my best piece of advice, I guess. I know not everybody's a morning person, but that works for me. Generally, I crash and burn. My energy level goes way down in the afternoon, but for the first part of the day, I am go, 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 and so that works well for me. Number 9, Polar Express. What writing rituals do you use to transport yourself into the world of your book or the mindset of your characters? I do a couple of things. I have a Spotify playlist for my work in progress. I have a couple of additional songs with words, because most of those don't have words, that get me into the mindset of my characters. Honestly, there is a place in town that I really like to go to write when I've written there enough times now that when I go there, I can get pretty quickly into that writing mindset and just knock out a lot of words and get in the zone. So when I'm too distracted at home, that's what I do. But there's not just one thing that transports me into that mindset necessarily. There are a couple of tricks and things that I use, those being the main two, I would say. So having music or sometimes background noise. I've mentioned this in a previous video, but ambientmixer.com has all kinds of soundscapes that you can play in the background, and sometimes I'll play Rainy Day at Bag End or something if I want to just have a story-related white noise going on while I'm trying to get into the mindset of these characters. And finally, number 10, sugar and spice and everything nice. In the spirit of spreading kindness and cheer, give a special shout out to someone who has been instrumental in your writing journey or someone who has really helped you along the way. There are a lot of people I could mention here, but this one I think has to go to my family, particularly my parents. My dad doesn't really read fantasy, so he hasn't read my book or anything, but he is so supportive of me. He believes in me so much that it's really touching, and I appreciate having somebody like him in my life. My mom has read my entire book. She's given me great feedback, and she also supports me in amazing ways. We have very similar tastes in stories, and so that works out well. She's just one of my best friends, and I am so grateful for her as well. And then I have 2 sisters and a brother-in-law and a brother-in-law to be very soon. My brother-in-law was actually the first one to finish my novel, and he isn't somebody who reads very quickly or a ton of fiction, at least, and so I just appreciated so much that he dug in there and decided that he was going to be the first to finish and give me this really great feedback. My sister is also really supportive and unsparing with her comments, which is perfect. That's what I need. I don't need somebody who just says, oh yeah, everything is great. I need somebody who can help me make these things better, right? That editing piece, making your writing as good as it can be. And my other sister and brother-in-law to be also support me and believe in me and my journey. I just am super grateful to them. So that's what I would say. My family is amazing. I see these videos on YouTube that say, what do you do when you don't have supportive friends or family? How do you find an author community? And honestly, I have such a supportive family that it's really wonderful. And especially this time of year when we get to think about those that we're thankful for, I'm just unbelievably thankful for them and the ways that they care about me and support me in this. So that's it. If you haven't subscribed, make sure you do, and like this video if you like it, all of that stuff. If you would like to see any particular English nerd related video, make sure to let me know. I respond in some way to all the comments. And I hope that you have a wonderful Christmas, New Year's, and all of that. I'll see you next Monday.